Friends, hello everyone. So, has the crypto market worn you all out? It took all your money? Today I want to talk about something called Polymarket, prediction markets. I'll tell you how we trade on it and what we can offer you, what secrets we can reveal, and how you can do the same. Trade consistently and profitably. So, the most important thing, basically, any learning in any field starts with copying. In order to understand strategies on Polymarket, to figure out how others are making money there, you need to start by copying. You need to follow these other people, figure out what they're doing, and then you can understand the strategies and so on. That's why we created a great service trying to combine everything we need into one place, everything that we ourselves use, basically. Now we're ready to offer this service for use by other people as well. So what we have is this. It's a terminal for Polymarket, PolyMaker.ai. Let's not get into details right now since that would take too long. I'll just quickly give you a brief overview. I'll tell you about the main features. And then we'll get to the best part, the real highlight, the main topic of this video, which is the terminal for Polymarket. Here you can register, basically trade on Polymarket, create wallets, trade together and so on. The main difference and the reason why you actually need this, why you should trade through the terminal instead of directly on Polymarket, is because it has features that aren't available there on Polymarket itself. The first is, of course, built-in stop losses and take profits. You can enter trades, set stop losses and take profits and then just leave, close everything and so on with peace of mind. Next, we have implemented the scalping, trading, and spread trading system. Scalping means you can trade quickly right in the order book, clicking to buy and sell directly in the book. In other words, you can catch that edge on order book volatility and profit from it, and spread trading is about that as well. With a single click, you can trade the spread. You see a market where there is a good spread. You just click once and two trades are executed. A buy at the lowest price at the best bid and a sell at the best ask. So in this way you can manually trade and make a profit for yourself. This is what concerns my trading terminal. Plus the most essential functions are implemented here, which we will cover in detail in all future videos. I will explain everything to you. So here is a complete system, meaning the first thing is this. With the help of the Bolide scanner, we scan and find the wallets we need. We will discuss all of this in detail in other videos. Which wallets have we found? We save them in our database, add notes so we don't lose them and so on, once we've found the wallets. We then move on to a proper analytical review of these wallets to see what we currently have on the market. For wallet market analysis, most people generally use the #dive field called Market Analytics. But honestly, I can say that this analytics is just garbage. You won't find anything useful there, you won't dig up anything worthwhile, and so on. That's why we created our own service, which allows us to dig up as much background information as possible on each wallet, extracting everything from every transaction. We can break down all the transactions to really understand what this whale is trading, how they're trading, and so on. Most people who try to copy them end up losing money. Why? Because you try to copy everything the whale does, but first you need to figure out what exactly to copy. What is the whale actually doing? What is their strategy so you can understand what is worth copying and what isn't? That's why we move on to the most important part, analyzing the wallet. Let's open up the wallet analysis. So here we have this page where we simply enter the wallet we need. And first we click preview. This is a quick preview. Why do you need to do it this way? First, because the main analysis involves downloading all the trades, and there are wallets with tens of thousands of positions, tens of thousands of transactions. You have to understand that we need to download all of this to the servers in order to analyze it. This can take 15, 20 minutes, 30, an hour, and so on. That's why you quickly click check the preview basically on the panel itself. This wallet has an excellent panel, it's steadily growing, it has good linearity, so we can continue analyzing this wallet. You can see that it only has 385 markets. As you know, the wallet has a lot of trading activity, so we won't click on the full history to avoid waiting too long. Let's just look at the trades from the last 3 days for now. So while one wallet is still loading, I've already loaded some other wallets. Let's take a look, for example, at this wallet here. What do we see here? First, we see all its main characteristics, the summary. So the overall win rate is less than 50%, meaning the number of winning trades is lower than the losing ones. But the win rate by volume, that is by the amount of money earned, is 52.2%, which is also not much. Basically, he only earns 2.2% from the turnover. We can say then how many closed positions he has, how many unique markets, and the average position by volume. And the most important metric is that we see the hedge. The percentage of trades he makes as a hedge, in other words, in 1,767 out of 2,220 markets, he bought both sides, hedging his position. This is very important because wallets like these, the ones that use hedging, if you just blindly copy them, it's very difficult and most likely you won't make any money. But if we go further, I'll show you some unique things we've managed to uncover and that you can also copy. And it's precisely from such wallets that you can squeeze out the maximum. So there's a lot of information here, a whole lot, and I won't go over all of it right now. Let's move on to the most important thing, the main point. What exactly you need to pay attention to. First of all, scroll down and look at all of their trades. Here we have this block called hedge market. We can see that he had 3,987 positions, of which only a few were single positions. That is, where he entered the market with only one outcome, 453 times. In 1,767 cases, he entered with a hedge. So we can see that in single markets, where he bought only one outcome, he earned 39, the main part of all the money. He made 264,000 on these markets. Where he entered with a hedge, now we scroll up and look at our main section, which is his main closed positions. It's important for you to understand that all of these closed positions, we pull them from different sources. We consolidate all of this, we close all of these positions ourselves, because many of the positions you pull, for example, just aren't finalized. That is, the event is already closed, the result is known, but the wallet itself hasn't registered a loss or a profit yet. And that's why it's very difficult to reconcile all these positions, but we do it and everything turns out perfectly for us. That is, we download the entire volume, recalculate all the positions ourselves. And only after that do we see that all the numbers match exactly with the panels provided by the market field. This means that in principle, we have accurately reconstructed the entire picture of his position. So we move on and look at the most important thing, his closed positions. What immediately catches our eye are these price intervals. That is a position that was up to $500, a position up to $1,000, up to $5,000, and so on. And we immediately noticed that the position from $0 to $1,000 is negative for them, while the position from $1,000 to $50,000 is positive. We have already seen that this wallet mainly operates according to the hedge system. And we can clearly see the distribution. His winning positions are those that accumulate a large volume in terms of money, and the losing positions are mostly those that he takes for hedging. Yes, if we scroll down here and look at the table where both the positive and negative positions are collected together, now we'll get to that as well, and I'll explain everything to you in detail. But right away, we can clearly see that if we simply follow this whale and copy his moves, if we copy all of his trades completely, most likely we won't make any profit because he himself only earns 2.2% from the total volume of money he moves. And considering that we will never be able to replicate his trades exactly one-to-one, because we will always have price slippage. No matter what, even on the most stable, non-volatile markets, you'll still end up with it. It turns out that this slippage will simply eat up those 2.2% and we'll end up in the red. So there's only one strategy here. We need to disregard those positions of his and not copy them, but instead copy these other positions, and I'll show you how to do that next. Let's move on and, for example, open these positions from 10 to 50,000. Let's hide this for now, I'll come back to it in a moment, and let's take a look at the actual position. Here we see this position, let's open it. Here we have a specific market, a specific outcome that he bought, the volume, the average price, how much he invested, how much he received, how much is on the panel, and here we see all his purchases, and so on. He kept buying. That's why, specifically in this table, there is a row where you see trigger 10,000. This means that we specifically marked here that he was building up this position gradually, step by step. And in this particular trade, which took place at 12:37:28 a.m. for $193, his total position volume was as follows. Yes, this one went over 10,000. In this way, we can single out the trade, the market, where he entered this range. That is, we can already consider that this market, this trade, will potentially bring him a good profit. Accordingly, we can see at what price this happened and why we need this information. This is necessary so that when we go to our Kupi bots, where we have created the infrastructure and fine-tuned it, specifically so that everything you find here, all these patterns and triggers, you can just as easily specify these patterns and triggers in our Kupi bots. And what will the Kupi bot do? Let's say you want to copy only deals of 10,000. You simply specify this in the Kup bot, you specify that. You monitor and keep track of all markets, all outcomes, all deals. And our Kupi bot starts monitoring every market. For every deal it takes the market, it noticed that a new market has appeared. A new outcome is a new entity, and it starts counting all its purchases for this new entity. It counts, reads, keeps reading, but does not enter the deal. And as soon as it gets a deal where the 10,000 trigger is crossed, then it enters, covers everything we missed with a single deal, and then continues. These are then repeated according to the rules you specified, either 1-to-1 or as a percentage ratio, and so on. And as a result, we enter the market. We capture the market we need, the one that falls within the required price range. And at the same time, we almost completely replicate its deal in terms of volume and try to achieve the same average price as it did. Why is that? Because if we simply repeat all the whale's trades, let's say he bought this one, bought that one, bought another, and then stopped there, it means that his market will go up to $1,000 and he will already be in. This is the range that is most likely a protective hedging position and will most likely close at a loss. In this way, we filter that out. Moreover, we move on. That is, you can filter out markets. So after this analysis, you see which markets you need and filter them by price range, then move on and keep looking. We also have things like this. So this is by category. Well, there's only one category here, so we can skip it. Here we see that all his trades in the 10,000 range were only on 3 markets. These are Counter-Strike, Dota 2, and Loyal. And I don't remember exactly, but here we can see how much he earned or lost on each market, win rates, and so on. Now I'll explain what this is for. Let's move on. There's another trigger, which is his prices, his average prices on the market. And right away, we can clearly see a very distinct correlation. The markets where he entered with certain prices. Up to 0.5, those are mostly losses for him, but with prices from 0.5 and above, he gets a good return. What does this tell us again? This indicates that the positions he takes for hedging are not only in this category, they are also in the category of more than 10,000, but at lower average prices. So again, why are we isolating all this? So that we can also filter them out in our bot. These trades up to 0.5, we can filter them out and copy the rest. Only these trades, the same applies to the markets, but here basically all his trades are on the market. Plus, let me show you on another example. Let's take a look at this one. Here too, all his trades are more or less normal in terms of markets. Well, here we see a price range from 1,000 to 5,000. It's clearly visible that these particular markets, these games, consistently bring him losses. So in our bot, in other words, our infrastructure is designed so that you first analyze the wallet, all its trades, identify all its patterns and triggers, determine in which price ranges you should copy, and at what average prices you should copy. You see, in all price ranges from 1,000 to 5,000 and prices from 0 to 0.5, they're negative. We discard those. But as for the markets, okay, here I would probably leave everything as is, not touch anything, because here regarding the markets, there are losses in other price ranges, but he doesn't have losses there. Looking at this price range, again, we clearly see a pattern from 0 to 0.5, 0.6. It has a negative value, so we discard it, and now you're doing great. We see that for this wallet, we just need to take this wallet and discard all the copy trades so we only copy its trades that have accumulated from $1,000 and above. And in all these trades that we copy, only those trades where the average price is from 0.5, can you imagine? This whale is moving huge amounts of money. This whale is moving a massive volume of money, and in fact, he's earning just 2.2%. But you can discard all of his losing trades and significantly increase his returns. Win rate, or rather your own win rate, that's what this is mainly made for. And it's exactly these patterns that you'll be able to find here in the trades. You'll easily be able to apply them in our copy bots. I'll explain everything in more detail later. Not today though, because it would take too long and so on. All these settings. So I think the main point is quite clear. We extract every single one of the trades, compile all the data together, they're all right there, and so on. Now, let's move on to the next part of our discussion. Let's move on to these tables. Now, these are the tables specifically for hedge positions. These are the same trades, only now they're grouped by two outcomes within a single trade. In order to see that is, we open the price range, and here we see, for example, a trade. Here is the trade, we click on the market. Here he bought one outcome, here he bought, this outcome closed at 0 for him, and here is his panel. Specifically for this outcome, it's minus 2,800, and on this market he also buys another outcome. Also buying, it closes at 1, panel 2,431, and here the panel is higher. As a result, for this trade we end up with a slight loss. So in this way, with trades, hedgers, and so on, and so on, and so on, you, or rather we, in our system, will be able to single out all these trades, and our task is to filter out these ones. And you can see here, it's clearly visible that the average purchase price is 0.29, and there we saw that everything is up to 0.5. Most of his trades are negative. These are hedge positions that will be closed at a loss. We need to find these positions, single them out and not take them, but only copy these ones and multiply them significantly, the panel and so on, but I think that's clear, and specifically by using this tool, which is huge. Later I'll make a huge video, probably a couple of hours long, where I'll explain everything in detail. Each metric, there are a lot of metrics. And then you'll be able to figure out any wallet. You'll understand all the strategies that a particular whale uses. They'll be right in the palm of your hand in plain sight when you can analyze like this, analyze all his market moves, all his trades, and so on. For every market, meticulously, every trade with its price, and so on and so on. So let's, for just a couple more minutes, take a look. Let's check out this wallet. Or actually, let's not. Here, from my NARPAS, look at this panel. Here's his win rate already, you see? Win rate. Overall, this is by the number of trades, where he won, where he lost, but by volume, by money, it's more. But he has only 163 closed positions, which means he enters rarely, but with huge amounts. Now, if we scroll down, we can see for this wallet that all of his money was earned in single positions. That is, he only takes one side, he doesn't hedge. These wallets are even easier to copy, but here you need to look at the prices at which he enters, so as not to end up with nothing. The same applies here. Looking at his closed positions, we can see that there isn't a clear correlation. There's no specific price range where he consistently has losses or gains. Everything is more or less even. Let's take a look then, and open up to see which positions are from 100,000 to 500,000, and from 500,000 to 1,000,000. Here he had one trade. For $800,000, he invested 1 million and received 1,150,000. Now let's take a look. Let's look at his trades starting from 50,000. Here too, I don't really see any clear correlation with the market and all these markets as well. It's clear that these are all esports, meaning computer games. What I like about this whale, is that in general, he has a good streak of positive trades. Let's take a look. This is what I really like about this very strong whale. Look, he's building up a position and the price is holding steady, not changing, then it changes. And then the trigger happened at 50,000. That means that even after the trigger, look, the price is still basically in this range. This means that in principle, we can copy his trades, and practically match the prices one to one. See, you notice we copied it. So if we had waited for the 50,000 trigger, accumulated 50,000, it shot up, and then our bot would have started entering. He bought with a large volume. All of this, what we missed at the price of 26, is exactly what he had at 26. And then we copied these trades, so in the end, our average was exactly the same as his, and that's the most important thing. That is, if you can copy the trades and the whale at the same average prices as the whale, then you can expect the same profit, the same win rate as the whale, right? Or, as in the first option, you can filter out and discard unnecessary trades and select only what you need. It's the same thing, look, accumulated at 0.43 and then everything at 0.43, everything is perfect. This can be repeated very easily, almost all the trades. Obviously, you won't be entering with such huge volumes, and you don't need to. In our copy bots, you can set any position size you want, however you want to accumulate, one-to-one by percentage or a fixed amount, and so on. I'll explain all of this in detail. The most important thing is that all these triggers, all these metrics that you can find in the analyzer, you'll be able to easily apply them, and the bot will copy only those trades that you want, based on market conditions, current price fluctuations, trading ranges, average prices, and so on. All of this awesome wallet. Yes, you can copy here. You see that it doesn't sell, it buys and waits for a reason. That is, it closes based on the reason, meaning it waits for the market to end. He doesn't sell. Even losing trades, he still took them. The reason closed at a loss or at break even. That's great. All his trades have prices listed, so you can repeat all his trades at these prices, right? So basically, I've told you everything important I wanted to share. This is kind of a teaser to show you what this software is capable of. In the next videos, we'll do a detailed analysis for a couple of hours. Analysis of this analyzer of ours. We'll take the wallet analyzer and analyze 6 or 7 different wallets. We'll start from the very beginning. So first we'll turn on our wallet scanner, this wallet scanner right here, and I'll show you how. First of all, how to search for these wallets, meaning how to find the ones you need. Next, we'll get this list of wallets, save it here, then move on to wallet analysis, and in the wallet analysis section, we'll analyze all of this and figure out which wallet suits us and which one we'll copy, and then we'll proceed further. We'll set it up in the bot, connect it, and start copying. That's it. So that's all for today. Make sure to subscribe and like, because what we're going to show you here is really interesting. You probably won't find this anywhere else. See you all next time.